They came out of the trees like ants. That's what I remember first. Not the sound, not the explosions, not the screaming, the sight of them. Hundreds, thousands maybe, North Vietnamese soldiers pouring out of the tree line, moving toward us in waves, like ants, like a swarm, and we were right in their path. 21 years. It's been 21 years since Drang, since November 1965, since I learned what it really meant to fight, since I learned the difference between being a soldier and being in combat, since I learned what it felt like to think you were about to die. My name is Ray Blackwood, Specialist 4th Class, United States Army, 7th Cavalry Regiment, 1st Cavalry Division. I was 20 years old when I walked into that valley. 20 years old and thought I knew what war was. I didn't know shit. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, Whitehaven area, working class neighborhood. My old man worked at the Firestone plant. My mama cleaned houses. I had 2 younger brothers, both still in school when I left. I wasn't much of a student. Barely graduated high school in '63. Tried working at a garage for a year, but it wasn't going anywhere. Then I got my draft notice in January '65. Didn't try to avoid it. A lot of guys did. Found deferments, went to college, claimed health problems. But that wasn't me. Figured I'd do my time, serve my country, come back home in 2 years. Simple plan, stupid plan. Basic training at Fort Polk, Louisiana. They taught us how to march, how to shoot, how to follow orders. Made us run until we puked, do push-ups until our arms gave out, stand at attention until we passed out in the heat. Broke us down, built us back up, turned us into soldiers. That's what they said anyway. Then advanced individual training, infantry, 11 Bravo. The guys who actually go out and fight, the grunts, the cannon fodder. They taught us tactics, formations, patrol procedures, how to read a map, how to call in artillery, how to treat a gunshot wound. Useful stuff, practical stuff. What they didn't teach us, what they couldn't teach us, was what it felt like when real bullets started flying, when real men started dying, when theory met reality and reality won every time. I shipped out to Vietnam in August 1965. Flew from Travis Air Force Base to Bien Hoa. 23 hours in a C-141, packed in with a couple hundred other guys, all of us thinking the same thing. What the hell are we getting into? Vietnam was hot. That's the first thing you noticed. Stepping off that plane was like walking into an oven. Humid, oppressive heat that made you sweat just standing still. And the smell, jet fuel, fish sauce, sewage, rot, everything rotting in the heat. They bussed us to An Khê, where the 1st Cavalry was setting up their base. We were the first full division to deploy to Vietnam. The new strategy, airmobile operations, helicopter assaults, bringing the fight to the enemy. Fast, aggressive, overwhelming force. That was the theory. I got assigned to Bravo Company, 2nd Battalion, 7th Cavalry. The same regiment that Custer had led at Little Big Horn. Some of the guys joked about that. Custer's last stand 2.0, they'd say. Hope we do better than he did. We didn't think it was prophetic. Should have. My platoon was 2nd Platoon, about 30 guys. Our platoon leader was Lieutenant Dugan, a ROTC graduate from Michigan. Good guy, young, eager to prove himself. Our platoon sergeant was Sergeant 1st Class Williams, a career soldier who'd done Korea. He knew his shit, didn't take crap from anyone. My squad leader was Staff Sergeant Martinez from Texas. Tough, fair, looked out for his men. He'd been in country for 6 months already, knew the terrain, knew the enemy. And there was Jackson, Private 1st Class Tyrone Jackson from Philadelphia. Black kid, funny as hell, always had something to say. We bunked next to each other, became friends fast. He wanted to be a teacher after the Army. Taught history, he said. Help kids understand the world. Good guy. Best friend I had over there. The rest of the platoon was a mix. Mostly draftees like me, some volunteers, guys from all over the country. White, black, Hispanic, didn't matter in the field. All that mattered was, could you do your job? Could you be trusted? Could you carry your weight? We trained at Ankei for a couple months. Patrol operations, helicopter assaults, jungle warfare. Learning how to fight in this terrain, against this enemy. The heat, the humidity, the vegetation. Everything was different from training. And the enemy, the Viet Cong, the NVA. They knew this land, knew how to use it, knew how to disappear, how to hit you and vanish before you could respond. We learned that fast. Guys would go out on patrol, run into an ambush, take casualties. Medevac choppers coming and going constantly, bringing back wounded, bringing back dead. But we hadn't seen the big stuff yet, hadn't been in a real fight, just skirmishes, probing actions, testing us. That was about to change. November 1965. Intelligence reported large NVA concentrations near the Drang Valley, close to the Cambodian border. Hundreds, maybe thousands of North Vietnamese regulars. Not Viet Cong guerrillas. Real soldiers, well-trained, well-equipped. The brass wanted to find them, engage them, test out the airmobile concept in a major battle, show the enemy what American firepower could do. We were going to be the tip of that spear. November 14th, the briefing. Lieutenant Dugan gathered the platoon, showed us maps of the valley, explained the plan. We're conducting a search and destroy operation in the Drang Valley, he said. Intelligence indicates significant enemy presence. We'll insert by helicopter, establish a landing zone, and sweep the area. He made it sound routine, like we'd done a dozen times before. Land, search, find the enemy, kill the enemy, go home. But I saw Sergeant Williams' face, saw the concern there. He'd been in combat before, knew when something didn't feel right. What kind of enemy numbers are we talking about, sir? Williams asked. Estimates range from a few hundred to potentially a couple thousand, Dugan said. The platoon got quiet. A couple thousand enemy soldiers, and we were going to land right in the middle of them. Artillery support? Williams asked. Available. Plus, we'll have gunships, fast movers if we need them. We'll have all the support we need. Williams nodded. Didn't look convinced. That night, Jackson and I sat outside our tent, smoking cigarettes, looking at the stars. You nervous? He asked. Yeah, I said. You? Hell yeah. 2,000 NVA? That's a lot of firepower. We got firepower, too. Artillery, air support, all that. Yeah, he said. But they're on their turf. They know that valley. We don't. We'll be fine, I said, trying to convince myself as much as him. He was quiet for a moment. Then, Ray, if something happens to me, nothing's gonna happen. If it does, he insisted, tell my mama I tried. Tell her I did my best. You can tell her yourself when we get home. Just tell her, okay? Okay, I said. We smoked in silence after that, looking at the stars, wondering if we'd see them again. November 14th, 1965. We loaded onto the Hueys at 0700, 8 men per helicopter packed in tight. I sat in the door, feet dangling out, M16 across my lap. Jackson was next to me. Martinez was across from us. The helicopters lifted off. 16 of them in our lift, carrying 2nd Platoon plus headquarters element. More lifts coming behind us with the rest of the company. We flew low over the jungle, green canopies stretching to the horizon. Beautiful in a way, peaceful from up here. But down there under that canopy, the enemy was waiting. The landing zone was called LZX Ray, a clearing in the jungle maybe the size of a football field. Not big, but big enough to land helicopters. That was the plan anyway. As we approached, I could see smoke rising from the tree line, artillery prep fires trying to clear the area before we landed. The door gunners were firing into the trees, long bursts of M60 fire. Then we were descending. Fast. The pilot didn't want to hover. Made us too much of a target. We came in hot, flared at the last second, touched down hard. "Go! Go! Go!" Martinez shouted. We jumped out, spread out, moved toward the tree line. The helicopter lifted off immediately, banking away. The next one was already coming in behind us. I hit the ground, found cover behind a termite mound, looked around. The landing zone was chaos. Helicopters landing and taking off, men running, officers shouting orders. But I didn't hear any gunfire. No incoming rounds. Just the helicopters and our own people. Maybe the artillery had worked. Maybe the enemy wasn't here. That's what I thought for about 30 seconds. Then all hell broke loose. The first shots came from the tree line to our left. A K-47 fire, distinctive sound. Pop, 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 then more, then a lot more. "Contact left," someone shouted. Everyone hit the dirt. Return fire. My M16 up, looking for targets. But I couldn't see anything. Just trees, shadows, muzzle flashes. More helicopters were landing. Men pouring out. Some got hit before they even left the aircraft. I saw a guy get shot in midair, tumbling out of the Huey. Saw another one take a round through the head, helmet flying off. The door gunners were hammering the tree line, brass casings raining down on us. But the enemy fire was increasing. A K rounds kicking up dirt, snapping past our heads. "Move to the trees," Lieutenant Dugan shouted. "Get to cover." We started moving, bounding Overwatch, half the squad moving while the other half provided cover. Martinez led the way, zigzagging toward the tree line. An RPG streaked across the LZ, hit a helicopter that was trying to take off. The Huey exploded, fireball and black smoke. Men on fire, running, screaming. Jesus Christ, we made it to the trees. Some cover, at least. The vegetation was thick. Bamboo, vines, heavy undergrowth. Could barely see 10 feet. "Set up a perimeter," Sergeant Williams was shouting. "Get that M60 over here." Our machine gunner, a guy named Patterson, was trying to set up. But the enemy fire was too intense. He couldn't get the gun in position. "Covering fire," Martinez yelled. We opened up, full auto into the jungle. Didn't know what we were shooting at. Didn't matter. Just had to suppress them. Give Patterson time to get the gun up. More men were coming off the helicopters. 1st platoon, 3rd platoon, headquarters. Captain Heron, our company commander, was on the radio coordinating, trying to organize this chaos. But the NVA weren't letting up. They were all around us now. Not just to the left, to the right, straight ahead, everywhere. And they were getting closer. I could hear them. Whistles, bugles, shouting in Vietnamese. And then I saw them. Coming through the jungle. Not sneaking, not hiding, just coming. Walking toward us with their rifles, firing as they walked. "Here they come," Jackson shouted next to me. I fired. 3-round burst. Aimed at the shapes in the jungle, saw one fall, fired again, and again. My first magazine was empty in seconds, reloaded, fired again. They kept coming. For everyone we dropped, 2 more appeared, and they were close now, 50 yards, 40. "Fall back," Williams shouted. "Back to the LZ." We started pulling back, firing, moving, firing. The jungle was alive with enemy soldiers. I couldn't believe how many there were. Hundreds. Just in our sector alone. How many more were out there? Patterson was lugging the M60, trying to move and keep the gun operational. Martinez was helping him, both of them firing short bursts to keep the NVA back. I was next to Jackson. We'd duck behind a tree, fire, move to the next tree, textbook stuff, what they taught us in training, except training didn't prepare you for this. Didn't prepare you for the noise. Constant gunfire, explosions, screaming. Didn't prepare you for the smell, gunpowder, blood, shit. Didn't prepare you for the fear that makes your hands shake, makes you want to run, makes you want to curl up and disappear. But you don't run. You keep fighting. Because that's your job. Because your buddies are depending on you. Because if you break, the whole line breaks. We made it back to the LZ. The helicopters had stopped landing. Too hot. The enemy fire was too intense. We were on our own. Captain Heron was on the radio. Broken arrow, I say again. Broken arrow. Broken arrow. The code meaning American unit in danger of being overrun. It meant every available aircraft would come to support us. It meant the situation was desperate. The artillery started coming in. 105-millimeter rounds landing in the jungle around us. Close. So close we could feel the concussion, feel the shrapnel whizzing overhead. But it was what we needed. The only thing keeping the NVA from overwhelming us. "Dig in," Sergeant Williams shouted. "Dig in and hold." We started digging, using our entrenching tools, our hands, whatever we could, making fighting positions in the dirt. The ground was hard, full of roots, but we dug anyway, dug like our lives depended on it, because they did. The NVA came again. Another wave. More of them this time. They were probing our perimeter, looking for weak spots, testing us. Our M60s opened up, long bursts, burning through ammo. The gunners were screaming for more belts. Riflemen were passing them ammunition, keeping the guns fed. I was firing my M16. Controlled bursts now, trying to conserve ammo, aiming at muzzle flashes, at shapes in the smoke. Don't know if I was hitting anything, just shooting, reloading, shooting again. Next to me, Jackson was doing the same. His face was covered in dirt and sweat. His eyes were wide, wild, but he was steady, kept firing, kept fighting. "You good?" I shouted over the noise. "Yeah, you? Still here?" The artillery was constant now. A curtain of steel around our perimeter. 105S, 155S, even B-52 strikes further out. The ground shook continuously. Trees were being shredded. The jungle was on fire in places, and still they came. Hour after hour, they attacked, wave after wave. We'd beat one back, and 10 minutes later, here came another one, sometimes from a different direction, sometimes from multiple directions at once. We were running low on ammunition. Guys were down to their last magazines. The machine guns were rationing bursts. We needed resupply. The helicopters tried. Brave pilots trying to land under fire to bring us ammunition, water, medical supplies. Some made it, some didn't. I watched a Huey take an RPG, cartwheel into the ground. Watched another one get shot up so bad the pilot barely made it back out. But they kept trying, and some got through. Cases of ammunition hitting the ground, men scrambling to distribute it. Water cans, boxes of grenades. We loaded up, refilled magazines, drank water. Tasted like metal and plastic, but who cared? Got ready for the next attack, because we knew it was coming. Could hear them out there, regrouping, preparing, getting ready to try again. Nightfall came. Didn't make things better. Made them worse. Couldn't see them coming anymore. Just had to listen. Had to wait for the muzzle flashes, the sounds of movement. Flares went up. Parachute flares dropped by aircraft, turning night into day for a few seconds. Harsh white light casting strange shadows. You'd see them frozen in the light, NVA soldiers in their khaki uniforms, rifles up, caught mid-stride. Then darkness again. More attacks came in the night. Hard to tell how many. Everything blurred together. Shooting, explosions, screaming, men dying in the dark, calling for medics, calling for their mothers, calling for help that couldn't reach them. The medevac helicopters, dust-offs, they tried to come in, but the LZ was too hot, enemy fire too intense. They circled overhead, pilots desperate to get to our wounded, but they couldn't land. Our casualties were piling up. Doc was working non-stop, moving from wounded man to wounded man, bandaging, treating, morphine for the ones who were too far gone. He was covered in blood, everyone's blood. I saw Lieutenant Dugan take a round, through the shoulder. He went down hard, clutching the wound. Sergeant Williams dragged him to cover, got Doc to him. Dugan was trying to get back up, trying to keep leading, but Williams pushed him down. "Stay down, sir. You're hit bad." Williams took over, started running the platoon. Cool, calm, like this was just another training exercise. It helped, kept us from panicking. Martinez was hit too, took shrapnel from a mortar round. Left arm was torn up. But he refused to be evacuated, wrapped it up and kept fighting. Said he wasn't leaving his squad. Jackson was still next to me, still fighting. We'd look at each other between waves, make sure the other was still alive. Didn't talk much. What was there to say? Just kept shooting, kept surviving, kept hoping we'd see morning. Morning came, but the fighting didn't stop. November 15th. The sun came up on a battlefield that looked like hell. The jungle around the LZ was shredded. Trees broken, ground torn up by artillery and mortars. Bodies everywhere. NVA bodies, mostly. Hundreds of them, stacked up where our fire had cut them down. But American bodies, too. Our guys, friends, men I'd trained with, lived with, fought with, lying in the dirt, staring at nothing. The smell was overwhelming. Blood, cordite, burning vegetation. And underneath it all, the smell of death. Sweet, rotten, unmistakable. It got in your nose, your throat, your lungs. You couldn't escape it. But we didn't have time to think about it. Didn't have time to process what we were seeing. Because they were still attacking. Dawn attack. Heavy. They came in from the south, a coordinated assault with bugles and whistles. Must have been 300 or 400 of them moving through the jungle in formation. Every gun we had opened up. M16S, M60S, M79 grenade launchers. The artillery came down like rain, and still they came. I was firing so much my rifle barrel was glowing. Magazine after magazine, brass piling up around my position. My hands were burned from the heat of the weapon. My ears were ringing so loud I couldn't hear anything except the gunfire. They reached our perimeter, hand-to-hand fighting in places. Guys using rifle butts, knives, fists. I saw Martinez clubbing an NVA soldier with his rifle. Saw another guy, don't remember who, in a knife fight with an enemy soldier, both of them covered in blood. Grenades were going off. Ours, theirs, couldn't tell. The explosions were constant. Men screaming, dying, killing. Jackson was firing his rifle one-handed, throwing grenades with the other. His face was a mask of dirt and blood. Don't know if it was his or someone else's. But he was still fighting, still alive. An NVA soldier appeared in front of our position, not 10 feet away. He raised his rifle. I raised mine. We fired at the same time. I felt the round pass by my head. So close, I felt the wind. My rounds hit him center mass. 3 rounds. He went down. First man I knew for certain I'd killed. Could see his face. Young guy, maybe younger than me. He was dying, looking up at me. And I just stood there holding my rifle, watching him die. No time to think about it. More coming. Had to keep fighting. The attack broke. They pulled back. Left more bodies. More of their dead piled up in front of our positions. We'd held. Barely, but we'd held. "Check your ammo," Sergeant Williams was shouting. "Redistribute. Get me a casualty count." I checked my pouches. Down to 3 magazines. 3, maybe 90 rounds. Started looking around for more. Took magazines off dead guys. Felt wrong, but what choice did I have? Jackson was reloading. His hands were shaking. Mine were, too. "Still here," he said. "Yeah, still here." Around us, guys were doing the same. Checking weapons, checking ammo, checking each other for wounds. Some guys were hit and didn't even know it. Adrenaline keeping them going. Doc was triaging the wounded. Who could wait? Who needed immediate help? Who was too far gone? Making choices no one should have to make. Some guys he'd look at, shake his head, move on. Nothing he could do. I saw one of those guys. His name was Morrison. He'd been in my squad. took a round through the stomach. Doc had looked at him, given him morphine, moved on. Morrison knew what that meant, knew he was dying. He looked at me, tried to say something. I went over, knelt next to him. "Tell my wife." He started, cough, blood in his mouth. "Tell her I love her." "You can tell her yourself," I said. Lying. We both knew it. He smiled. Weak. "Sure. Yeah." He died about 10 minutes later. Just stopped breathing. I closed his eyes, took his ammunition, moved back to my position. That was combat. That was war. Your friend dies, you take his ammo, you keep fighting. Because if you stop to grieve, if you stop to process it, you're next. The helicopters tried again. More supplies, more ammunition, trying to get our wounded out. Some made it. The dust-off pilots were the bravest men I ever saw, flying into that hell, landing under fire, loading wounded, getting out. Some of them made multiple trips, but we were still taking casualties, still losing men. And the NVA weren't giving up. They wanted this LZ, wanted to overrun us, to destroy an American unit, to prove they could stand up to our firepower. And they were close to succeeding. Afternoon brought more attacks, from the west this time. A different unit, fresh troops. They'd been bringing in reinforcements all night. More soldiers, more weapons, more ammunition. We'd been fighting for over 24 hours. No sleep, little water, less food, running on adrenaline and fear and sheer stubbornness. I was so tired I could barely see. Everything was blurry, surreal, like a nightmare you can't wake up from. I'd fire my rifle, reload, fire again. Mechanical, not thinking, just doing. Jackson was the same. We all were. Past thinking, past feeling, just fighting, just surviving. Patterson, our machine gunner, was killed. Took a burst from an AK. The gun kept firing, though. His assistant gunner took over, kept the M60 going. That gun was the spine of our defense. As long as it kept firing, we had a chance. More artillery, more airstrikes. F-4 Phantoms came in, dropping napalm on the jungle. The fire rolled through the trees, incinerating everything. The heat was so intense we could feel it hundreds of yards away, the smell of burning flesh. NVA soldiers caught in the napalm. That smell mixed with everything else. I'll never forget that smell. Never. But it worked. The attacks slowed. The NVA were pulling back, at least temporarily. We'd survived another wave. That's when the broken arrow really kicked in. Every aircraft in the area was coming to help. Helicopters bringing reinforcements. Alpha Company, Charlie Company. Fresh troops, fresh ammunition. Landing under fire, but getting through. The perimeter expanded. More men, more positions. We finally had some depth, some reserves, some hope. Sergeant Williams came by our position, looked at us, me, Jackson, Martinez, the others still alive. "You boys did good," he said. "Real good. We held. Against everything they threw at us, we held." I just nodded, too tired to respond. "Get some water. Try to eat something. We're not done yet." He was right. We weren't done. The fighting continued through the night. But it was different now. We had reinforcements. We had more ammunition. We had a chance. November 16th, third day. The NVA made one more push. A last desperate attempt to overrun us. Came in from multiple directions at once. Everything they had. We threw everything back at them. Every rifle, every machine gun, every grenade. The artillery was non-stop. The airstrikes were constant. The entire valley was on fire, choking with smoke. And we held. They broke. Finally, they broke. Pulled back. Faded into the jungle. Left their dead. So many dead. More than I could count. More than anyone could count. We'd won. We'd held LZ X-ray. Defeated a major NVA force. Proven the airmobile concept worked. That's what the brass said later, what the reports said, what history said. But sitting there in that destroyed landing zone, surrounded by bodies, American and NVA, it didn't feel like winning. It felt like surviving, barely. Sergeant Williams came around again. We're pulling out. Helicopters inbound. We're going home. Home, back to NK, back to safety, back to whatever came after this. We gathered our gear, helped load the wounded, counted the dead. Too many dead. Jackson was next to me as we waited for the helicopter. We didn't talk, just stood there, caked in dirt and blood and who knows what else. Alive, together, somehow. The Huey came in. We loaded up. The helicopter lifted off, and I looked down at LZ X-ray disappearing below us. 3 days. We'd been there 3 days. Felt like 3 years. We'd survived, but we'd never be the same. None of us would ever be the same. They flew us back to Ankei. 30 guys got on the helicopter. Only 18 got off. The rest were dead or wounded, already evacuated to field hospitals. 18 out of 30 in 3 days. They took us to the medical tent first. Quick checks, any wounds we didn't know about, anything needing immediate attention. Most of us were okay physically. Cuts, bruises, burns from hot weapons, nothing serious. But we weren't okay. You could see it in everyone's eyes. That 1,000-yard stare they talk about. Looking at nothing, seeing everything. They gave us hot food, real food, not sea rations. And water, all we could drink. Told us to shower, get cleaned up, get some sleep. I stood in the shower for an hour, watching the dirt and blood wash off, watching it swirl down the drain. The water stayed brown for a long time. When it finally ran clear, I almost couldn't believe it. Jackson was in the shower next to me. He wasn't washing, just standing there under the water, staring at the wall. "You okay?" I asked. "Yeah," he said. But he wasn't. Neither of us were. That night, we tried to sleep. But every time I closed my eyes, I was back there, back at X-ray, hearing the gunfire, seeing the bodies, smelling the smoke. I'd jerk awake, gasping, reaching for my rifle that wasn't there. Jackson was the same. I could hear him in the bunk next to mine, tossing and turning, sometimes making sounds, not quite screaming, but close. None of us slept that night, just lay there in the dark, reliving it. The next day, they debriefed us, officers asking questions, taking notes, what we saw, what we did, how many enemy we thought were there. Clinical questions, like they were asking about a training exercise. "How many enemy casualties did you personally witness?" the captain asked me. I thought about it. The NVA soldier I'd shot at close range, the ones in the jungle that might have been my rounds, the ones killed by artillery that I'd called in. How many? 10? 100? No way to know. "I don't know, sir," I said. "An approximate." "A lot, sir. A lot." He wrote something down, moved on to the next question. They told us we'd killed over 1,000 NVA soldiers at X-ray. Maybe more. For the loss of 79 Americans killed, 121 wounded. From a military standpoint, they said, it was a victory, a decisive victory. Didn't feel like one. They gave us 3 days to rest, 3 days before sending us back out. New mission, same war. During those 3 days, I couldn't shake it. Couldn't stop thinking about X-ray, about the men who didn't make it, about Morrison dying in the dirt, asking me to tell his wife he loved her, about the NVA soldier I'd killed watching him die, about how close I'd come, how many times a bullet had missed me by inches, how it could have been me lying dead on that LZ. Jackson and I talked about it one night. Both of us unable to sleep, sitting outside our tent, smoking. "You think it gets easier?" he asked. "Don't know, maybe. I keep seeing them. All those bodies, ours, theirs, just piled up. Me, too. I killed people, Ray. I know I did. Saw them go down. And I don't feel anything about it. Shouldn't I feel something? I didn't have an answer. I didn't feel anything either. Just numb. Empty. Maybe that's normal, I said. In war. Maybe you have to shut that part off or you couldn't function. Maybe. But what happens when the war's over? Does that part come back? I hope so, I said. I really hope so. They sent us back out November 20th. Another air assault. Another LZ. We all tensed up as the helicopters came in, expecting it to be like X-ray. Expecting to get hit immediately. But it was quiet. No contact. We set up, patrolled, found nothing. Spent 3 days walking through jungle, seeing ghosts in every shadow, jumping at every sound. Nothing happened. But we couldn't relax, couldn't let our guard down. Because we knew now, knew what could happen, knew how fast it could go from quiet to hell. The operations continued through December. Search and destroy missions. Sometimes we'd make contact, a firefight, an ambush, sometimes nothing. But every operation, every patrol, we waited for it. Waited for the next X-ray. Some guys started breaking down. Combat fatigue, they called it. Guys who'd stop functioning in the field, who'd freeze up when the shooting started, who'd just sit there, unable to move, unable to fight. The Army called them cowards, sent them to the rear for psychiatric evaluation, sometimes court-martialed them. But I understood. I felt it too. That overwhelming urge to just stop, to give up, to not care anymore. The only thing keeping me going was Jackson, Martinez, the other guys. Couldn't let them down. Couldn't be the one who broke. Christmas, 1965. They tried to make it festive. Put up decorations, served turkey dinner, had Bob Hope and his USO show come through. Everyone cheered and clapped and pretended to be happy. But I couldn't stop thinking about the guys who weren't there, who died at X-ray, who should have been there eating turkey and watching pretty girls dance. I wrote letters home, told my parents I was fine, told them not to worry, told them Vietnam wasn't so bad. All lies. But what else could I say? That I'd watched my friends die? That I'd killed men and felt nothing? That I was starting to wonder if I'd ever feel human again? They didn't need to hear that. Nobody needed to hear that. January 1966. We lost Martinez, not in combat, malaria, got sick, deteriorated fast, died in a field hospital, just like that. Survived X-ray only to die from a mosquito bite. That felt wrong somehow. Survived one of the biggest battles of the war, only to die from disease. Where was the glory in that? Where was the meaning? There wasn't any. That was the point. There was no meaning to any of it. Who lived? Who died? It was random. Chance. Luck. We buried Martinez at Ankei, military funeral, 21-gun salute, folded flag, all very proper, very respectful. I stood there at attention, listening to taps, and all I could think was, he survived X-ray. He made it through. And then this. This is what killed him. It wasn't fair, but war wasn't fair. I was learning that. February brought more operations. The war was ramping up, more American troops arriving, more battles. The Drang had been just the beginning. But for us, for the guys who'd been at X-ray, it was different now. We were veterans, combat veterans. The new guys looked at us differently, treated us differently. Like we knew something they didn't, and we did. We knew what it was really like. We knew the fear, the chaos, the randomness of survival. We knew that all the training in the world couldn't prepare you for the reality. We tried to help them, tried to teach them what we'd learned, but you couldn't really teach it. They had to experience it themselves, had to go through their own X-ray. Some of them would survive it, some wouldn't. That's just how it was. My tour was 12 months. Seemed like forever when I arrived. After X-ray, it seemed even longer. Every day was another day I might die. Another day I had to survive. Another day closer to going home. If I made it home. April 1966, 6 months after X-ray. I had 6 months left on my tour. That's when Jackson died. We were on a patrol near Bong Son. Standard operation. Sweep through some villages, check for VC activity, move on. Nothing unusual. We'd done it 100 times. The mine went off under the second man in the column, a guy named Peters. Killed him instantly. Wounded 2 others. We hit the ground. Standard procedure, secure the area, check for more mines, call for medevac. Jackson was the squad RTO, radio operator. He was calling it in. Coordinates, casualty report, requesting dust off. Doing his job. That's when the sniper fired. Single shot. Through Jackson's head. He dropped the handset, fell forward. Gone instantly. I was 10 feet away. Saw it happen. 1 second he was talking on the radio. The next second he was dead. The whole patrol opened up. Firing at where we thought the sniper was. Probably hit nothing. The sniper was long gone, but Jackson was dead. My best friend. The guy who'd been next to me at X-ray, who'd survived 3 days of hell, who was going to be a teacher when he got home, dead from a single bullet, in a patrol that didn't matter, in a war that didn't make sense. I don't remember much after that. I remember Doc confirming Jackson was dead. Remember helping load him onto the medevac. Remember the helicopter flying away with his body bag. Remember sitting there in the dirt, holding his radio, his blood still on the handset. Something broke in me that day. Not dramatically, not obviously. Just a quiet crack, like ice giving way. I stopped caring about the mission, about the war, about surviving. Just went through the motions. Did my job because that's what you do. But I was empty inside, hollow. Sergeant Williams noticed. You okay, Blackwood? Fine, Sergeant. You're not fine. I can see it. You need to talk to somebody? No, Sergeant. I'm good. But I wasn't good. I was broken. Just functioning on autopilot, waiting for my bullet, waiting for my turn. May came, then June. Time passed, but I barely noticed. Patrols, operations, firefights. I participated, did my job, but I wasn't really there. Part of me had died with Jackson, July 1966. Lieutenant Dugan, recovered from his wounds at X-ray, came to find me. Blackwood, I'm putting you in for early rotation. You've seen enough, done enough. I'm sending you home. I have 2 months left on my tour, sir. I know. But you're done. I can see it. You're going to get yourself killed if you stay. Permission to stay with my unit, sir. Permission denied. You're going home. That's an order. Part of me wanted to argue, wanted to stay, finish my tour, stay with the guys. But most of me just didn't care. Home, Vietnam, didn't matter. Jackson was dead. Martinez was dead. Most of the guys from X-ray were dead or wounded or rotated out. What was I staying for? They flew me to Saigon July 15th, processed me out, gave me my orders, my plane ticket, my discharge papers. I was going home. I should have been happy, relieved. I'd survived. Against all odds, I'd made it through. But I felt nothing, just empty. The flight home was long. Stopped in Japan, Alaska, finally landed at Travis Air Force Base in California, August 1966. I'd been gone exactly 1 year. 1 year felt like a lifetime, and they gave us a brief ceremony. Welcome home. Thank you for your service. You're dismissed. That was it. No parade, no celebration. Just, thanks. Now go back to your lives. Like we could just do that. Like we could flip a switch and be civilians again, like nothing had changed, everything had changed. I flew to Memphis. My parents met me at the airport. My mother cried. My father shook my hand, pulled me into a hug. My brothers were there too. Everyone happy, smiling. I tried to smile back, tried to pretend I was happy to be home, but I felt disconnected, like I was watching the scene from outside myself, like this was happening to someone else. They drove me home. Everything was the same house, the same street, the same town, like I'd never left, like the past year hadn't happened. But it had happened, and I couldn't forget it, couldn't pretend it hadn't. That night, I couldn't sleep in the bed, too soft, too quiet. I ended up on the floor with a blanket. That felt more normal. That felt right. My mother found me there in the morning, didn't say anything, just looked sad. I tried to readjust, tried to be normal. Got a job at the same garage I'd worked at before. Went to work, came home, ate dinner with my family. Normal routine, normal life. But I wasn't normal. Couldn't be normal. Everything felt wrong. The peace was wrong. The safety was wrong. The normalcy was wrong. I'd wake up at night in a panic, reaching for my rifle. I'd hear a car backfire and hit the deck. I'd see Asian faces in the grocery store and tense up, looking for weapons. My family noticed. Give him time, my father said. He just needs to adjust. But I wasn't adjusting. I was getting worse. I started drinking. Not a lot at first. Just a beer or two at night to help me sleep. Then more. Then enough to numb everything, to stop thinking, to stop seeing Jackson's face every time I closed my eyes. My father tried to talk to me. Son, you need help. You need to talk to someone. I'm fine. You're not fine. Nobody who went through what you went through is fine. What do you want me to say, Dad? That I killed people? That I watched my friends die? That I don't feel anything anymore? I want you to get help. But I didn't get help. Just kept drinking, kept working, kept pretending. Lost the job in October, showed up drunk. They let me go. Couldn't blame them. Lost my girlfriend in November. She'd waited for me while I was in Vietnam. But the person who came back wasn't the person who'd left. She tried to understand. But how could she? She hadn't been there. Nobody had been there. Nobody who hadn't fought in Vietnam could understand. December 1966, 1 year since X-ray. I was sitting in a bar, alone, drinking, when a guy sat down next to me. You look like shit, he said. I looked at him, recognized him. Another guy from the 1st Cavalry, not from my company, but I'd seen him around Ankei. You were at X-ray, he said. It wasn't a question. Yeah. Me too, Charlie Company. We sat there for a minute, both of us drinking, both of us carrying the same weight. It doesn't get better, does it? I said. No, he said. It doesn't. You just learn to live with it. How? He shrugged. Day by day. One day at a time. Some days are better than others. Jackson was my best friend. He died 6 months after X-ray. Sniper. I'm sorry. Martinez died from malaria. Morrison died at X-ray, asking me to tell his wife he loved her. I never did. Never contacted her. How could I? You couldn't? I should have, though. Should have done something. Should have made it mean something. It did mean something. We were there. We fought. We survived. That means something. Does it? What does it mean? What was the point? He didn't answer. Didn't have an answer. Nobody did. We drank until the bar closed, then went our separate ways. 2 broken men trying to survive in a world that had moved on without us. 21 years now. 21 years since Drang Valley. Since X-ray. Since November 1965. I'm 41 years old. I've lived longer now than I thought I would. Longer than Jackson got to. Longer than Martinez, than Morrison, than all the guys who didn't make it home. Sometimes I wonder why. Why me? Why did I survive when they didn't? No answer. There's never an answer to that question. I got help eventually. Took me years, but I did. Started seeing a psychiatrist in 1970. He put a name to what I was experiencing. Post-traumatic stress disorder, he called it. PTSD. Said lots of Vietnam veterans had it. Didn't make it better, but at least it had a name. At least I wasn't the only one. I stopped drinking in 1972. Been sober ever since. Hardest thing I ever did, but I did it. Had to, or it would have killed me. Got a job with the city in 1973, maintenance work. It's not much, but it's steady. Pays the bills, keeps me busy. Met a woman in 1975, Linda. She's patient, understanding, doesn't push me to talk about Vietnam, but listens when I do. We got married in 1977. Have 2 kids now. Good kids. They don't know much about the war. Know I was there, know I fought, but they don't know the details. Don't know about X-ray, about the 3 days, about the bodies and the blood and the fear. Maybe someday I'll tell them, maybe not. Don't know if they need to know. Don't know if anyone needs to know. The nightmares never stopped completely. Still have them 2 or 3 times a week. Still wake up in that landing zone, hearing the bugles, hearing the gunfire, seeing Jackson fall. Linda knows. She'll wake me up, calm me down, remind me I'm home. I'm safe. It's over. But it's not over, not really, not for me, not for any of us who were there. I keep in touch with some of the guys, the ones who survived. We get together once a year, usually around November. Talk about the old days. Remember the guys who didn't make it. We don't talk much about the battle itself. Don't need to. We all remember it, all carry it with us. Sergeant Williams retired in 1975, lives in Florida now. We talk on the phone sometimes. He's doing better than most of us. Says you have to focus on what came after, not what came before. Easier said than done. There's a memorial now. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial in D.C., the Wall. I went there in 1984. Looked for the names. Jackson, Martinez, Morrison. All the guys from Charlie Company who didn't come home, found them, traced their names with my fingers, cried for the first time in years. All those names, all those men, all those lives that ended in that jungle. And for what? We pulled out of Vietnam in 1973. The North took over in 1975. All those deaths, all that sacrifice for nothing. The war we fought, we lost. Hard to accept that. Hard to think about the guys who died and know that their deaths didn't change anything, didn't save anyone, didn't win anything. Just dead, just gone. But maybe that's not the right way to think about it. Maybe the point wasn't winning or losing. Maybe the point was that we fought, that we stood together, that we didn't abandon each other. That's what I tell myself anyway, on the good days. The war changed me, changed all of us. We went to Vietnam as boys, came back as something else. Not men, not quite, something harder, something broken. We learned things there, things about ourselves, things about the world, things you can't unlearn. We learned that you can kill and feel nothing, that you can watch your friends die and keep fighting, that you can endure things you never thought possible. We learned that survival is random, that there's no fairness, no justice, no reason to who lives and who dies, just chance, just luck. We learned that the worst part isn't the fighting. It's after. It's coming home and realizing you don't fit anymore, that you've seen and done things that separate you from everyone who hasn't. We learned that we're alone, that nobody who wasn't there can understand, that we carry this weight by ourselves. I look at my kids sometimes, My son is 18 now, same age I was when I was drafted. And I think about Vietnam, about X-ray, about what I went through at their age. And I pray they never have to go through the same thing. Pray there's never another war. Pray they never have to learn what I learned, see what I saw, become what I became. But I know better. There's always another war, always another generation of young men learning the same lessons, learning that war isn't glory or honor or patriotism. War is terror and chaos and death. War is watching your friends die. War is killing and feeling nothing. War is coming home broken and spending the rest of your life trying to put yourself back together. That's the truth. That's what X-ray taught me, what Vietnam taught me. 21 years later, I'm still learning it. I still see their faces. Jackson, Martinez, Morrison, all the guys who didn't make it. They're still with me, still in my dreams, still asking me why I survived when they didn't. I don't have an answer. We'll never have an answer. All I can do is live, keep going, try to make my survival mean something. Try to honor their memory by being here, by not giving up, by pushing through. Some days I do okay, some days I don't, but I'm still here, still fighting, not against the NVA anymore, against the memories, against the guilt, against the weight of carrying all those ghosts. We never really left that landing zone. None of us survivors really left. We're still there, in that valley, in November 1965, fighting and dying and trying to understand why. Still there. Always there. The war ended, but we didn't. We just kept going, carrying it with us, trying to survive one more day, trying to make it mean something, trying to come home. But we never really came home. Part of us died there. Part of us stayed with Jackson and Martinez and all the rest. And that part will always be there, in the Drang Valley, at Landing Zone X-Ray, 21 years ago, forever.